Chapter 443, Breakthrough 3. Initially, Elder Mo wanted to reproach Enchanting for playing around. Without enough cultivation background, forcefully charging towards martial chi level 2 from the third heaven of martial chi level 1 would result in one being swallowed by their mental demons and have dire consequences should they fail. Once, a disciple whom Elder Mo doted on the most wanted to break through to martial chi level 2 but forcefully charged towards the realm without enough cultivation. Ultimately, the disciple's inner chi reversed, and he died on the spot. To now, Elder Mo was unable to forget how his disciple died tragically. However, looking at how Enchanting's breathing was controlled, Elder Mo was deeply astonished, and the words that he wanted to lash out at her were no longer able to leave his mouth. Martial Chi Level 2. Second Heaven, Elder Mo was utterly dumbfounded on the spot in disbelief. When normal cultivators succeeded in charging towards a higher realm, they would at most advance from the third heaven of martial chi level 1 to the first heaven of martial chi level 2. However, Enchanting surpassed his purview. Not only was she successful in charging towards a new realm, she even advanced to the second heaven of martial chi level 2. Then, Elder Lin walked out of his room as well, and an expression of shock filled his face as he saw Enchanting from not far away. Rapidly, Elder Lin's eyes were slightly gloomy. Enchanting had already entered the second heaven of martial chi level 2 currently, and she could even be able to have a battle with the chief disciple of Xianling's sect. Enchanting, come over here. Elder Mo waved at Enchanting. After hearing that, Enchanting nodded and walked to Elder Mo's side. It really is the second heaven of martial chi level 2. Elder Mo's eyes twinkled, and the disbelief on his face turned into an inexplicable delight. Enchanting, it is really my blessing to have such a disciple like you. Elder Mo finally uttered with a sigh after a long while. What are you saying about, Master? If you hadn't fought for a mind and heart pill for me, I would not be able to break through so easily. Enchanting chuckled. Elder Mo shook his head with a laugh. While the mind and heart pill was precious, it was not like what Enchanting said. If there could be such a miracle by relying on just one mind and heart pill, Qinglin's sect's current skills would probably have exceeded that of Yunshao's sects long ago. Enchanting, you just made a breakthrough. Do rest well and consolidate your cultivation. After a long while, Elder Mo looked at Enchanting with eyes full of adoration. In the room, Enchanting sat on the floor. The inner chi in her body gradually turned into primordial chi. The body of a cultivator at the first heaven of martial chi level 1 had inner chi of which nature would change into primordial chi once the cultivator reached martial chi level 2. While there was only a difference in one word between inner chi and primordial chi, there was a world of differences. Inner chi could only be used to kill enemies while primordial chi could be transformed into armies and even form a primordial chi wing for the cultivator travel in the air. All of this was unable to be done with inner chi. Since I've entered martial chi level 2, I can use the feather formation technique already, Enchanting mumbled. Feather formation technique was a remarkable skill Enchanting learned in her previous life, which used the primordial chi to create a pair of wings. Swiftly, the power of the primordial chi flowed out of her body, and a huge pair of wings instantly appeared on her back. The wings flapped slightly, and a hurricane ensued in the room. At the same time, Enchanting's eyes flickered. She flapped her primordial chi wings and extinguished the oil lamp in the room. About a few breaths later, the door of the room opened with a squeak. It's him, Enchanting hid in a secret corner and observed the uninvited guest. Enchanting did not expect Fu Lingtian to have such audacity to take her life without hesitating to intrude into Xianling's sex area. Ha! A sinister laugh broke out in the darkness. Do you think you'll be fine as long as you hide? Chapter 444, Lying 1. Fu Lingtian suddenly raised his right arm and slammed the beam of the roof. In a moment, an extremely strong force of primordial qi crashed into the room like strong waves. Then, Enchanting landed on the ground from the roof like an agile butterfly and avoided Fu Lingshan's attack. Fu Lingtian, how bold of you to intrude into Xianling Sect's area of residence. Are you not afraid of alarming the elders? Enchanting scoffed. Xianling Sect. Fu Lingshan's lips curled up slightly into a cold sneer. What is Xianling Sect? How can it be compared to my Yunshao Sect? Enchanting narrowed her eyes when Fu Lingtian finished his sentence. Fu Lingtian actually mentioned Yunshao's sect in front of her forthrightly. It seemed that he no longer intended to conceal anymore. Enchanting, you are a mere disciple of a small sect and only have the cultivation of the third heaven of martial qi level 1. However, you deliberately forced me to reveal my true state of cultivation on the ring today. I'm afraid you must know something. A cold glint twinkled in Fu Lingshan's eyes. Previously, Yi Yu had warned that once he revealed his true skills in front of the 3 sects, he would definitely be heavily punished by the sect. Fu Lingtian kept it in mind and was very cautious during the competition. Yet, he was forced to reveal his true skills because of Enchanting today, and the sect would definitely not forgive him. Whichever route he had spelled death, and naturally, he would not let Enchanting off. Fu Lingtian, you barged into my room in the night. Could it be that it is to ask me if I know about anything? Enchanting was unconcerned. You reminded me. Fu Lingtian walked towards Enchanting slowly and said. Everything is no longer important. Today, I will kill you first. Then, the imposing air of the second heaven of martial qi level 2 spread in the room, which shrouded and trapped Enchanting. Aren't you very nimble? Go on and flee. There was a cruelly playful expression on Fu Lingshan's face. Senior brother Fu, I'm wrong. Please spare my life. Looking at the murderous Fu Lingtian, a strange look flashed across her eyes, though fear was etched on her face. Ha! It's a pity that's a little too late. Fu Lingtian scoffed and immediately slammed a hand towards Enchanting. Fu Lingshan's slap possessed a large force of primordial qi, which contained the air of destruction. Even a person at the first heaven of martial qi level 2 would die without a doubt under this attack. This girl brought so much trouble to him, and he already intended to kill her long ago. Thus, he no longer had any reservations using the skills of the second heaven of martial qi level 2. However, boom! Enchanting stretched a hand out and immediately stopped Fu Lingshan's left palm. In an instant, the fear on Enchanting's face faded, and her lips tugged up and formed into a devilish smile. I was lying, you. Fu Lingtian was astonished. There was the force of primordial qi around Enchanting. Martial qi level 2. Second heaven. Fu Lingtian was in utter disbelief. Why was the attainment of this Enchanting of Xianling sect the same as his in just a few hours? You actually hid your skills as well. Fu Lingtian clenched his teeth tightly. He naturally would not believe that Enchanting just made a breakthrough, and he thought that she was also at the second heaven of martial qi level 2 but suppressed her skills as he did. Senior brother Fu, how are you going to take my life now? Enchanting smiled. Fu Lingtian was outraged, and the force of his primordial qi escalated to the maximum. He immediately broke free from Enchanting's restraint and turned around in an attempt to escape. Chapter 445, Lying, 2, Senior brother Fu, how are you going to take my life now? Enchanting smiled. Fu Lingtian was outraged, and the force of his primordial qi escalated to the maximum. He immediately broke free from Enchanting's hold and turned around in an attempt to escape. Then, Fu Lingtian was already aware that Enchanting was at second heaven of martial qi level 2. Even if he could kill her, it would cause a stirring, and the Xianling sect people would definitely be alerted since this was Xianling sect's area of residence. Yi Qingtang's speed was originally swift. Now, after breaking through to the second heaven of martial qi level 2, her skills had increased multiple folds, and her speed was all the more incomparable to before. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang had already blocked Fu Lingxian's way. Want to escape? Yi Qingtang let out a cold laugh. Just stay since you're already here. Then, Yi Qingtang gathered all the force of her primordial qi into her fingers. Whiz! With the pointing of a finger, a piercing sound lingered in one's ears as though the air was still. Fu Lingtian was startled after feeling the force of Yi Qingtang's one finger. He originally wanted to leave, but Yi Qingtang's finger was pointed very brilliantly as it sealed his route of retreat and rendered him to have no way of escape. In a moment of desperation, Fu Lingtian launched a lousy attack, but the speed of Yi Qingtang's finger was too fast, and Fu Lingtian was too late. Boom! This finger fiercely landed on Fu Lingxian's chest. In the next second, a shrill scream escaped Fu Lingxian's mouth. His entire body floated in the sky and was flung out of the room like a kite with a snapped string. Yi Qingtang chased after, but before she attacked again, Elder Mo suddenly appeared. What audacity! There was a cold glint twinkling in Elder Mo's eyes as he slammed his palm against Fu Lingtian. Ow! Fu Lingtian was already injured by Yi Qingtang and was now attacked by Elder Mo, who suddenly appeared. After sustaining another injury on top of his previous injuries, his face paled, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Young one, how dare you intrude into my Xianling sect's area of residence and attack my disciple in secret? Elder Mo grabbed Fu Lingxian's collar, lifting him in midair. Yi Qingtang had just advanced to martial qi level 2 not long ago, and Elder Mo had been guarding in the vicinity. After hearing some unusual noise from Yi Qingtang's room, Elder Mo immediately rushed over. Very quickly, Elder Mo and Elder Lin appeared as well. Fu Lingtian from Qinglin sect. What's going on? Elder Qin's brows were tightly furrowed. This bastard intruded Qingtang's room with evil designs, Elder Mo said coldly. What? Elder Qin was shocked. Then, he shot a furious glare and pointed at Fu Lingtian. How bold of you to do anything to satisfy your lust. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched upon hearing that. He was here to kill her all right. Elder Qin. Fu Lingtian is here to kill me. Yi Qingtang explained. Elder Qin was stunned and instantly understood the situation. Awkwardness filled his face. Elder Mo, you should speak more clearly. Evil designs can cause misunderstanding. Elder Qin coughed lightly to cover up his embarrassment. Elder Mo did not bother with Elder Qin as he gripped Fu Lingxian's throat. Speak. Did Qinglin sect instruct you to do this? Then, Fu Lingxian's face was flushed, and he had difficulty in breathing. Are you not speaking? Elder Mo's expression darkened. Elder Mo, you're strangling his throat. How is he to talk? Elder Qin reminded. Humph. Elder Mo lifted his right arm and threw Fu Lingtian on the floor. You all. This bunch of old things, Fu Lingtian looked at the elders. Do you have a death wish? Elder Mo was filled with murderous intent. Chapter 446, Lying, 3, ha 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 ha. However, Fu Lingtian crackled in disdain. I am a Yunshao sect disciple. Do you all dare to lay a finger on me? Yunshao sect. Elder Lin was startled. Aren't you a Qinglin sect disciple? How did you become a Yunshao sect disciple? Yunshao sect was at its peak and was the rich and powerful sect. Their history could even be traced to thousands of years ago. They had a deep-seated background and was not what the three sects could compare to. Ha, Fu Lingtian scoffed. There are too many things you all don't know. In the eyes of Yunshao's sect, you all are merely a slaughterhouse. If you don't say it clearly, you will be torn into pieces tonight. Elder Mo ordered coldly. Ha! How pitiful, Fu Lingtian shook his head and continued. Xianling sect, Qinglin sect, Wind Moon sect, these are all slaughterhouses to feed the spirit roots of Yunshao sect disciples. However, what can you do even if you all know about this? You're saying that Yunshao sect knows a technique to swallow spirit roots. Elder Lin seemed to be deep in thought. Don't bullshit any longer. I advise you all to release me immediately. Otherwise, angering my Yunshao sect, your Xianling sect would definitely be exterminated. Fu Lingtian said mightily. Exterminated, then, a glint flashed in Yi Qingtang's eyes. Some past events that were almost forgotten floated in her mind immediately. In her previous life, she had once cultivated in Xianling sect. A long time after leaving the sect, she happened to hear that Xianling sect was exterminated in a night. The Grand Elder, Elder Mo, Elder Qin, all the higher-ups of Xianling sect were killed, and Xianling sect vanished from then on. In her previous lifetime, Yi Qingtang did not have any feelings towards Xianling sect, and even when she heard rumors of Xianling sect's extermination, she did not feel anything. Even more so, that period of time was almost forgotten. However, it was no longer the same after her rebirth. Unknowingly, Xianling sect had found a way into her heart. There were too many things that she could not break off from the sect. Master Elder Mo, Elder Qin, those fellow disciples whom she was close to. Thinking about it carefully now, the only force in the area which could wipe out Xianling sect without a sound was the powerful Yunshao sect. Ha ha ha. There are Yunshao sect disciples hiding in your Xianling sect as well. Yi Qingtang returned to her senses and heard Fu Lingtian. Who is it? Elder Mo roared sternly. Who is it? Fu Lingtian scoffed. So what if you all know? Could it be that you all dare to touch a Yunshao sect disciple? Fu Lingtian was aware that Yunshao sect would definitely not forgive him after he displayed his true skills. Now, he no longer had any fears, and, all the more, there was nothing he was afraid to say. If you don't say it, it'll take your life. Elder Mo assumed a posture in preparation to attack. Wait. Suddenly, Elder Lin walked forward and stopped Elder Mo. Elder Mo, we must investigate this matter clearly. If he really is a Yunshao sect disciple, we must not touch him at all. Elder Lin said. This time, Elder Qin agreed with Elder Lin. Fu Lingtian only said that he was a Yunshao sect disciple, but there was no concrete evidence. Moreover, this matter implicated too many things, and any decisions could only be made after investigating clearly. All right. This matter cannot be delayed. I'll bring him back to the sect first and report this matter to the Grand Elder and Sect Master. Elder Mo said. Okay. Yi Qingtang nodded her head in agreement. Subsequently, Elder Mo grabbed Fu Lingtian and flew into the sky, disappearing without a trace. However, tens of thousands of years later, the primordial humans were tired of living in the sea and scattered sacred objects around the ocean, which formed into islands of different sizes. After attaining the Paragon realm in her previous life, Yi Qingtang's horizon was widened, and she knew a total of thousands of islands. Every island was a mainland in the present day. These islands were later divided into 3 big domains: Blue Sky Domain, Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, and Divine Venerate Domain. Amongst the 3, there were the least islands in Blue Sky Domain, and its martial culture could not be compared to that of Mixed Heavens Holy Domain and Divine Venerate Domain. 100 years later in her previous life, Yi Qingtang once headed to the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain and was shocked by its martial culture. The skills of the most ordinary sect disciples in Mixed Heavens Holy Domain were far above that of a Yin-Yang True Lord. Even a high-level arcane supremacy was very common in Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. To give an example, if any random ordinary sect disciple in Mixed Heavens Holy Domain came to this mainland, they could easily destroy a colossal Yunshao sect just by lifting a hand. Chapter 448, Worries, 2. As for Divine Venerate Domain, it was too far away from the Blue Sky Domain, and there were tempests surrounding it which even a mighty paragon would be torn into pieces by the violent storm should they be slightly careless. Hence, Yi Qingtang never had the chance to take a look at that domain in her previous life. Nevertheless, there were many legends about the Divine Venerate Domain. It was said that the Divine Venerate Domain was the peak domain in the world. Hundreds of primordial clans were in it, and humans were the weakest forces. Despite that, the martial skills of the weakest human clan disciple in the Divine Venerate was at least at a paragon level. Presently, Yi Qingtang was in the weakest and smallest domain out of the three big domains, Blue Sky Domain. There were hundreds of islands in the Blue Sky Domain, and each island was a mainland. The bigger the island, the more flourishing the martial culture was. The mainland that Yi Qingtang was in was only the tip of the iceberg on Blue Sky Domain. Relatively speaking, this mainland was extremely small, and its martial culture was immensely underdeveloped. Martial Chi Level 3 was almost the peak of one's martial skills on this mainland, while the number of powerful figures at Yin-Yang True Lord was so few that it could be counted with one hand. The backward martial culture was closely related to the insufficient spirit energy on this mainland. In this thin spirit energy, it was already a miracle for Yi Qingtang to successively advance to the second heaven of Martial Chi Level 2 in a night. If Yi Qingtang wanted to prevent the extermination of the sect this time, her cultivation must at least reach the state of a Yin-Yang True Lord. Yin-Yang True Lord was the attainment after Martial Chi Level 3, and it was extremely rare for this mainland to have a cultivator of such attainment. It was simply unrealistic for Yi Qingtang to achieve it in a short amount of time. A long while later, Yi Qingtang opened her eyes and walked out from the memories of her previous life. After her rebirth, she no longer had the powers of a paragon, and the current her was only its second heaven of Martial Chi Level 2. Stopping Yunshao's sect with an attainment of Martial Chi Level 2 was no different from a fantasy. According to the knowledge from her previous life, almost all the higher-ups in the sect were killed when the sect was wiped out, with all of them losing their lives in the battle, while most of those unyielding sect disciples who fought courageously were massacred by Yunshao's sect. What must I do to change Xianling's sect's fate? Yi Qingtang sighed lightly. There was a total of 2 dynasties on this mainland, which were Nine Nights Dynasty and Formidable Heavens Dynasty. Sects like Xianling's sect were rooted in the Formidable Heavens Dynasty, with Yunshao's sect being one of the most powerful sections. The Nine Nights Dynasty and Formidable Heavens Dynasty were arch-enemies, and both had been in hundreds of battles with each other in the past 1,000 years. In the Formidable Heavens Dynasty, there were powerful forces which could compete with Yunshao's sect, and one of them was the Falling Sky Valley. Because of Yi Qingtang was ultimately hunted down for her life by Yunshao's sect in her previous life. There was nowhere to turn for help, and she was forced to hide in Nine Nights Dynasty, where she was rescued by the master of a valley division in Falling Sky Valley who was known as Perfected Xianqin. Yunshao's sect did not dare to remain in the Nine Nights Dynasty for long, or even more so fight with the Falling Sky Valley on Nine Nights Dynasty's territory, and thus could only return. From then on, Yi Qingtang remained in Falling Sky Valley. Regardless of her previous or present life, Yi Qingtang's feelings towards Falling Sky Valley could not be cut off. Her master, Perfected Xianqin, as well as her senior brothers and sisters, and that dirty black dog behind the mountain which only knew how to speak the human language. At this moment, Yi Qingtang was lost in her painful memories. In the eruption of the war between Nine Knights Dynasty and Formidable Heavens Dynasty, the internal corruption of the Nine Knights Dynasty resulted in the Formidable Heavens Dynasty's great victory, where Yunshao sect and other influential sects charged into the Nine Knights Dynasty. Chapter 449 Spirit Life Flower 1. Because of the revelation of the heart of the demon god in her previous life, Yi Qingtang could only leave Xianling sect. Yet, Elder Lin, who heard the news a long time ago, ambushed her. If Yunshu had not saved her, she would probably have died then. After escaping from Elder Lin's hands, she concealed her true identity and stepped into Falling Sky Valley after many twists and turns. In her previous life, she originally thought that she could settle down in Falling Sky Valley, yet, in the eruption of the war between Nine Knights Dynasty and Formidable Heavens Dynasty, the internal corruption of the Nine Knights Dynasty resulted in the Formidable Heavens Dynasty's great victory, where Yunshao sect and other influential sects charged into the Nine Knights Dynasty. In order to protect Yi Qingtang, Perfected Xianchen was involved in a bloody battle with Yunshao sect and killed the sect master of Yunshao sect as well as several elders with his own force. However, because his energy was depleted, Yi Yu's sneak attack using the poison of a venomous insect was successful, and he was poisoned to death. Yi Qingtang would never forget the scene where her fellow disciples fought with their lives. That day became a hell with corpses laying all over. A cold glint shot across Yi Qingtang's eyes, and the aura of her realm exuded around her. I will never let the tragedy repeat again. Be it Xianling sect, or Falling Sky Valley. With a whiz, Yi Qingtang stood up. After her rebirth, she was finally overflowing with desire for power. Only with power could she be able to change it. Only by becoming stronger could she turn things around and fight with the heavens. In her previous life, the heavens let her spirit root be stolen, let Nine Knights Dynasty be tragically defeated, and let Falling Sky Valley be annihilated because of the combined forces of influential sects. Now that Yi Qingtang was reborn, how could she watch history's tragedy replay itself before her eyes? If that was the case, what was the use of her rebirth? What was the point of her living in the world? I, Yi Qingtang, vow that from now on, Yi Qingtang clenched her fists, and a cold glint shone in her eyes. If anyone blocks me, I will kill them. If gods hinder me, I will massacre them. If the heavens are heartless, I will go against the heavens. Everything in her heart was precious, and she would protect them from then on. Those who wanted to steal anything precious to her must become corpses under her feet. Yi Qingtang stood up instantly. Primordial chi was exuded, and a pair of snow-white wings appeared behind her back. While the spirit energy in Drifting Cloud Island was rich, she was already at martial chi level 2, and the spirit energy on the island was very limited to the increment in her skills. If she wanted to increase her skills as quickly as possible, she could only take the other path. Whiz! A piercing sound rang. Yi Qingtang flapped the huge wings behind her and flew towards the sky and into the clouds. In just the blink of an eye, there was no trace of her. A mountain valley at the north of Formidable Heavens Dynasty. Yi Qingtang was currently in the air as her snow-white wings flapped. There was an open mountain valley below her where rivers intersected, and a dense forest surrounded it, making it seem like another world. Yi Qingtang scanned that mountain valley, and her eyes flickered slightly. There was a numinous treasure called the Spirit Life Flower in this mountain valley. In the world, the number of items which could improve one's spirit root was very few. However, not only could the Spirit Life Flower improve a cultivator's primordial chi, but it also had the benefit of cleansing one's spirit root. As long as this Spirit Life Flower was used, even ordinary spirit roots could be improved. However, this spirit life root was extremely rare. Thus, there was almost no method of improving one's spirit root in the world. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang once heard that Yi Yu somehow gained news that there was an immature spirit life flower here and ordered one of her trusted subordinates to guard here. Once the spirit life flower was ripe, it was to be plucked and brought back to Yi Yu to improve her spirit root. Chapter 450, Spirit Life Flower. 1. This spirit life flower was effective in improving even ordinary spirit roots, and for Yi Qingtang's current spirit root, it would only be better. Presently, she had to obtain both this spirit life flower and the black heaven water. However, the Yunshao sect disciple guarding the spirit life flower here was rather skilled as well. Although Yi Qingtang knew it, she initially did not intend to take a risk and snatch it. Yet, she was forced by the situation. She faintly sensed a hint of danger from the revelation of Fu Lingshan's identity. She had to increase the realm of her martial skills in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, all her lofty sentiment and soaring determination would be nothing but empty talk. Between the clouds, Yi Qingtang looked at the area in the mountain valley which was the most abundant in spirit energy. A male who looked below 30 was guarding near a huge rock where the spirit life flower was growing at the top of the rock. According to Yi Qingtang's observations, the spirit life flower was already ripe, and the man had not plucked it probably because he felt that the effects would be better if it was a little riper. Yi Qingtang scanned that man whose cultivation was about martial qi level 3. Given Yi Qingtang's second heaven of martial qi level 2, it was a little too unrealistic to snatch the spirit life flower away from someone at martial qi level 3. Over the past 2 days, Yi Qingtang had remained here all along and did not return to Xianling's sect. The spirit life flower was extremely effective to her. Before Xianling's sect's mystic realm started, the spirit life flower was the only method she could think of which would raise her skills by the greatest extent. As the level of her skills moved higher, the speed of her improvement in skills would slow down. Yi Qingtang did not wish to miss this chance. However, that Yunshao sect disciple guarded by the rock over the past 2 days and never left a step, which made it hard for Yi Qingtang to make a move. If she stole it up front, she was not an opponent of that martial qi level 3 person given her current skills, and she would never do anything she had no confidence in. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang never wasted any time while waiting for the opportunity as she consolidated her cultivation level in the clouds. Even in the earliest hours of the 3rd morning, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she looked straight ahead. Then, a middle-aged man about 40 years old walked towards the direction of Yi Qingtang. TSK. My luck is really good. There's actually such a beauty here in the wild. The middle-aged man looked at Yi Qingtang with a sinister laugh. Yi Qingtang glimpsed at the middle-aged man before her and was stunned. Yi Tianqiu. Yi Tianqiu was the number 9 on the sex assassination roll. He committed countless wrongdoings in his life and liked to seek pleasure with girls from sections. It was said that Yi Tianqiu once intruded the residence of a prince in the formidable heaven's imperial city and tainted one of the princesses in the night. From then on, not only were sects after his life, even the formidable heavens dynasty listed him as a wanted criminal where one would be heavily rewarded for bringing Yi Tianqiu's head. There were portraits of everyone on the assassination roll, and Yi Qingtang saw the face of Yi Tianqiu in Xianling's sect's assassination roll gallery and thus recognized him instantly. Heh, girl doll, what are you doing here? Yi Tianqiu walked to Yi Qingtang's side and beamed. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly and looked at Yi Tianqiu, who was harboring evil intentions. A glint flashed across her eyes suddenly as she immediately put on a frail expression and looked at him rather nervously. I am a Xianling sect disciple. I was training outside, and was injured by a demonic beast. I've not yet recovered now. Chapter 452, Spirit Life Flower. 4. No. I will not lie to you. Yi Qingtang shook her head extremely earnestly. Joel E. Tiancho had Enchanting walk at the front to lead the way. He was not afraid that the girl before him would play any tricks. Given his martial chi level 3 realm, he would not be afraid at all even if Xianling sect elders were here. Enchanting walked in front while limping in pain, and her movement was not fast. About an hour later, Enchanting brought Tiancho to a spot in the mountain valley. The spirit life flower is right there. Enchanting raised her hand and pointed ahead of them. Tiancho looked in the direction that Enchanting pointed at. There was a huge rock hundreds of meters away, and there was indeed a spirit life flower growing on the top of the huge rock. It really is the spirit life flower. Tiancho was surprised. Very quickly, his surprised expression turned into that of burning desire. If he could obtain the spirit life flower, perhaps he could break through the bottleneck of his realm. At that point, Tiancho finally believed that this beauty never lied to him. Since you know there's a spirit life flower here, why don't you get it yourself? Tiancho asked carefully. Although he desired the preciousness of the spirit life flower, he was not a fool who advanced rashly. If it were an ordinary sect disciple, he or she would definitely snatch it away the moment he or she saw this treasure. How would they leave the baby there without doing anything? Someone is guarding it, and he is very skilled. Enchanting sensed Tiancho's caution and immediately explained honestly. Then, Tiancho's brows were furrowed slightly as he scanned the area in front of them once again. Expectedly, a male around his 30s was guarding near the huge rock. It is merely a brat. Tiancho scoffed coldly and looked at Enchanting. You will follow behind me. Once I obtain the spirit life flower, I'll let you go. However, if you dare to play any tricks, I will let you be in utter misery. Okay, Enchanting nodded repeatedly. Looking at the bowtie's innocent appearance, Tiancho snickered in his heart. Regardless of whether he could obtain the spirit life flower today, this beauty would never be able to escape from his hands. At that moment, the Yunshao sect disciple who was guarding near the rock frowned and looked ahead. He saw a man and a girl walking towards him together. Get lost! That Yunshao sect disciple shouted coldly as he displayed his imposing air instantly. He was ordered by Senior Sister Yi Yu to guard the spirit life flower here and not allow any living thing to come near it. TSK. Little chap, you're asking me to get lost. Tiancho looked at the Yunshao sect disciple and sneered. Tiancho. Chapter 453, The Mantis Stalks the Cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. 1. The skills of this Yunshao sect disciple were indeed good and were similarly at first heaven of martial chi level 3. Tiancho knew that even if he could kill the Yunshao sect disciple, he would be wounded as well. It would naturally be the best if the person gave in and left. However, what a joke! The Yunshao sect disciple scoffed. Tiancho, aren't you too bold? Do you know that this spirit life flower is an item that Yi Yu, the holy lady of my Yunshao sect, wants? How dare you fight with Senior Sister Yi Yu for it? When mentioning Yi Yu, the eyes of this Yunshao sect disciple were full of worship and adoration. Ever since Yi Yu entered the sect, she was regarded highly by the sect master of Yunshao sect and was conferred as the Holy Lady of Yunshao sect. It goes without saying that her position in the sect was extremely high. Humph! Tiancho scoffed. Whoever it is, this spirit life flower is mine today. Since you can't appreciate my kindness and want death, I'll grant you that. Tiancho, you have a death wish. Before Tiancho made any move, the Yunshao sect disciple took the advantage of striking first as he drew out a long sword from the scabbard on his waist with a crisp clang. As he waved his sword, the image of the sword was like a screen which almost turned into a substantial sword aura that charged towards Tiancho. Overconfident. A cold glint twinkled in Yi Tianqi's eyes as he launched a strike with his palm that crushed the sword aura of the Yunshao sect disciple. That Yunshao sect disciple was actually rather skilled, but his cultivation was at the mid-stage of the first heaven of martial qi level 3, while Yi Tianqi's skills had already reached the perfected stage of the first heaven of martial qi level 3. Regardless of the background and experience in the realm, he was superior to the Yunshao sect disciple. At that instant, Yi Qingtang was standing near the huge rock where she spectated the match between Yi Tianqiu and the Yunshao sect disciple with indifference. An icy scoff that was hard to detect hung on the corner of her lips. Boom! A loud bang echoed throughout the surrounding area. The Yunshao sect disciple was hit on his abdomen by Yi Tianqiu and was flung out like a kite with a snapped string. However, Yi Tianqiu did not have a large gain. His left shoulder was stabbed by the Yunshao sect disciple, and fresh blood stained his sleeves red in a moment. Under the tattered clothes was a ghastly sword wound so deep that his bones could be seen. Little brat of Yunshao sect, I think you're tired of living. Yi Tianqiu was utterly wrathful after being injured by the Yunshao sect disciple. He lifted his right arm and fiercely waved it in the air. Chapter 454. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. 2. Blood was flowing out of Yi Tianqi's mouth then. He avoided in time, fortunately. Otherwise, if he was attacked head-on, the breath of destruction would tear him into shreds in just 1 second. The sword with senior sister Yi Yu's aura. Despicable. The Yunshao sect disciple clenched his teeth. Yi Yu had used the force of the blue spirit root to inject a breath of destruction in his long sword, which was enough to save his life and counterattack. Yet, unexpectedly, Yi Tianqiu luckily dodged it. Die! Yi Tianqiu hollered in fury and darted to the front of the Yunshao sect disciple. Without giving him any time to react, Yi Tianqiu slammed his palm directly on the Yunshao sect disciple's crown. Immediately, the crushing of bones could be heard, and blood gushed out from the Yunshao sect disciple's eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Thump! The Yunshao sect disciple collapsed on the ground like a pile of mud and lost his life on the spot after taking just 2 breaths. After killing the Yunshao sect disciple, Yi Tianqiu immediately leaped up and plucked the light cyan spirit life flower on the huge rock away. You've obtained the spirit life flower. You can release me already, right? Yi Qingtang looked at Yi Tianqiu, who already gained the spirit life flower. At that moment, Yi Tianqi's complexion was ghastly pale. After the battle with the Yunshao sect disciple, his injuries were not light, and he was especially severely injured from the breath of destruction that was injected using the force of Yi Yu's spirit root. Presently, Yi Tianqiu naturally did not have the energy to do anything to Yi Qingtang, but he would not spare her life either. TSK. Little beauty, thank you for telling me about the spirit life flower, Yi Tianqiu smiled sinisterly. However, I never intended to let you go. It's a pity that I'm injured and can't do wonderful things with you. It truly is a pity. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang had a shocked expression on her face as she replied. You actually lied. Ha ha ha. Yi Tianqiu chortled loudly. I'm going to recuperate in this mountain valley. If I let you go, you will definitely disclose this information. Furthermore, I don't have the habit of setting anyone free. A hint of bloodthirst twinkled in his eyes as he walked towards Yi Qingtang. Little beauty, Yi Tianqiu's eyes twinkled. Goodbye. Seeing that Yi Tianqiu was going to strike, Yi Qingtang seemed as though she was extremely petrified. No, fear was etched on Yi Qingtang's face. Yi Tianqiu sneered even deeper after seeing Yi Qingtang's reaction. He immediately accumulated a huge amount of force in his palm and slammed towards Yi Qingtang's crown. Swoosh! However, as he was launching this quick attack, What he never expected was that this extremely frail-looking beauty would strike at this moment. Almost instantly, Yi Qingtang struck with her palm in lightning speed. Boom! A deafening sound echoed the entire area when the two palms met. In the next second, Yi Tianqiu retreated over 10 steps in disbelief as he spat a streak of blood. You! Yi Tianqiu looked at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. Martial Qi Level 2. Second Heaven. At the same time, the expression of fear on Yi Qingtang's face vanished completely, and it was replaced with an evil smile. Yi Tianqiu's face was awfully pallid like that of a dead corpse, as he stared at Yi Qingtang disbelievingly. You! Yi Tianqiu was astounded. Me! An unknowing smile was hung on Yi Qingtang's lips. What about me? Damn woman! You're lying to me. Yi Tianqiu was ranked 9 on the assassination roll and was able to live in the world without being killed by the sex and formidable Heavens dynasty. How could he not be smart? Yi Tianqiu was not a fool. As long as he thought for a while, it was clear to him. The girl before him was not injured at all. Even more so, she laid a trap for him from the very start. Lying to you? Yi Qingtang raised her brows as she sneered. How can you say that? Isn't the spirit life flower here? Yi Tianqiu clenched his teeth tightly and wished he could shred Yi Qingtang into pieces. However, Yi Tianqiu, you don't have the ability to obtain this spirit life flower. I still must thank you for handing this spirit life flower to me. Laughter filled Yi Qingtang's eyes as she picked up the spirit life flower that escaped Yi Tianqiu's hands previously. Chapter 455 The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. 3. This girl. How deep and vicious you are. Yi Tianqiu felt torn apart as he watched Yi Qingtang keep the spirit life flower away. He fought for the spirit life flower with his life, but it was ultimately a dowry for others. Vicious. Yi Qingtang could not help but laugh. If it were other girls who were not skilled enough and did not set such a trap for Yi Tianqiu, their ending would have been miserably tragic. Ha! Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly. If I didn't act like I'm weak and dumb, how could I lead you to snatch the spirit life flower and defeat both you and that Yunxiao sect disciple? Given Yi Qingtang's cultivation, she was not able to defeat either Yi Tianqiu or the Yunxiao sect disciple who was guarding here. Obtaining the spirit life flower from the Yunxiao sect disciple was nothing but a pipe dream. Yi Tianqiu came knocking on the door himself and jumped into the hole. He could only be blamed for being innocently foolish. Now, the Yunxiao sect disciple was killed by Yi Tianqiu while Yi Tianqiu was severely injured by the Yunxiao sect disciple before he died. As such, Yi Qingtang had absolute control now. All this while, Yi Tianqiu did not think much of her and thus was not on his guard against her, especially when she attacked him earlier on when he was already injured. Facing someone at the first heaven of martial Qi level 3 who was full of weak points and even heavily injured, Yi Qingtang naturally had no fears. Everything was in Yi Qingtang's control. From the very start when Yi Tianqiu appeared, he was destined to be a dead man. Before she had any absolutely powerful martial skills, the brain was also a good asset which even surpassed martial skills at certain times. To repay you for helping me to snatch this spirit life flower, I've decided to lay you to rest in this mountain valley. What do you think? The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips tugged up. As she spoke, there was a crisp clang, and the demonic blood sword appeared, filling the air with a frightening demonic aura. You! Sensing Yi Qingtang's murderous intent, Yi Tianqiu was filled with horror. His combat capability decreased greatly when he was heavily injured by the Yunxiao sect disciple before he died. Moreover, this girl launched a sneak attack on him earlier. With those injuries, the primordial qi in his body was erratic, and his blood flow was disorderly, causing his entire body to wobble. Not mentioning about fighting back, he was almost losing the strength to even stand straight. Puff! The moment the demonic blood sword was drawn out, the blood-colored sword aura seeped out like a mighty torrent. Before Yi Tianqiu knew what happened, his right arm was already chopped off by the demonic blood sword. Shrill cries escaped Yi Tianqiu's mouth as anger and unwillingness were evident on his face. Yi Tianqiu, had trampled around formidable Heaven's dynasty freely for over a decade, and he had never respected the most skilled and powerful formidable Heaven's royal. A living legend, he even dared to offend the Yunshao sect, yet never expected that he would lose his life in the hands of a female disciple of Xianling's sect. Yi Tianqiu looked at Yi Qingtang as though he wanted to say something. However, Yi Qingtang did not give Yi Tianqiu any chance to speak, and a cold glint shone as she waved the demonic blood sword lightly. With a swoosh, a blood ripple was seen in the midair. In the next second, Yi Tianqiu's skull was flung into the sky, and large gushes of blood spouted out from his neck area like the spattering of rain which stained the entire ground red. Yi Tianqiu's head fell somewhere far away and rolled away like a ball, leaving a trace of blood on the ground. A headless body collapsed on the ground and gradually turned cold. Chapter 456, Great Harvest. 1. Yi Qingtang stared at Yi Tianqiu, whose head was separated from the body. Her eyes did not show any trace of pity, as countless women would suffer with this kind of person living in the world. Soon, Yi Qingtang walked forward and rated everything on Yi Tianqiu. She was not interested to take his head as she was not heading back to the sect. It was not very convenient to carry a human head with her. Yi Tianqiu had an old kung fu technique book and a bag of spirit stones with him. There was also a gold token. This is the token of the Assassination Alliance. Yi Qingtang was in deep thought as she stared at the token. The Assassination Alliance consisted of the most vicious people whose names were on the assassination roll. The dark gold token showed the identity and the position of the person in the Assassination Alliance. Yi Qingtang did not think much and kept the token away. She then threw the book at the side. Yi Qingtang had stepped into the Paragon realm in her previous life, and the martial skills that she cultivated were the Paragon skills. How would she be interested in the skills that a person with martial chi level 3 possessed? Yi Qingtang was most interested in the bag of spirit stones. Medium-grade spirit stones. Yi Qingtang opened the bag, and there were 12 spirit stones inside. The spirit stones were classified into superior, medium, and lower grades. Lower-grade spirit stones were sold in normal auctions and the treasure pavilion. They were very ordinary, and Yi Qingtang always fed them as snacks to her lightning dragon. The medium-grade spirit stones were different. A medium-grade spirit stone was worth more than 1,000 of lower-grade ones. It contained sufficient spirit energy for cultivators to absorb and upgrade their ability, and it could also be used as a currency. On the road of martial art cultivation, the stronger and more powerful you were, the more useless the gold and silver currency were. Gold and silver were completely useless if one reached the Yin-Yang True Lord level. The items in the top treasure pavilions and auctions were mostly divine weapons and paragon treasures, and gold and silver could never be used to purchase them. The currency in exchange would be medium-grade spirit stones. Gold and silver were the currency for the weak. The medium-grade and superior-grade spirit stones were the currency for the strong. The land that was more advanced did not even have gold or silver. The currency used was all superior-grade spirit stones or even stones with higher quality. The medium-grade spirit stones could be the main currency for the strong as they contained a large amount of spirit energy and could improve one's cultivation. Gold and silver were useless for strong cultivators. Yi Tianqiu was at the martial chi level 3. It was not strange for him to have the medium-grade spirit stones. At this level, gold and silver slowly faded out of the currency and were replaced by medium-grade spirit stones. The spirit energy that a medium-grade spirit stone contained could be compared to 1,000 of lower-grade spirit stones. 12 of them were equal to 12,000 lower-grade spirit stones. Enchanting was slightly delighted. 12 medium-grade spirit stones was not a small number, as the elder of the Xianling sect only received a few medium-grade spirit stones every month. 12 medium-grade spirit stones. If the spirit energy can be absorbed by the heart of the demon god, maybe I can break through to the third heaven of martial qi level 2, Enchanting murmured to herself. For normal people, they might need at least a few hundred medium-grade spirit stones. However, Enchanting was different, as she possessed the heart of the demon god. Enchanting reaching the paragon level after 300 years since she left the sect in her previous life was all due to the heart of the demon god. Chapter 457 Great Harvest 2. Apparently, the medium-grade spirit stones only worked for cultivators at martial qi level 2. If one stepped into martial qi level 3, the amount of energy that the medium-grade spirit stones could provide would be very limited. Even Enchanting required at least 1,000 of medium-grade spirit stones to advance her cultivation level. Enchanting walked forward and stopped beside the corpse of the Yunshao sect disciple. She found another 5 medium-grade spirit stones from the Yunshao sect disciple and a silver color token. Yunshao token. Enchanting sized up the token and muttered. The Yunshao token belonged to Yunshao sect disciples only, and it represented their identity. Enchanting was slightly attracted to the token. The token might be useful in the future. Enchanting then kept the token into her space ring. The harvest she had this time was way beyond her imagination. Previously, the best result she thought was to acquire the spirit life flower. However, besides the spirit life flower, she collected 17 medium-grade spirit stones from Yi Tianqiu and the Yunshao sect disciple. They were equal to 17,000 lower-grade spirit stones. She did not spend much energy, so the things were like given to her for free. After packing up everything, Enchanting did not move far. She chose a remote cave nearby and sat down. She then took out all the medium-grade spirit stones. 17 spirit stones were covered by the primordial qi and floating in the air. Large amounts of spirit energy suddenly diffused out of the medium-grade spirit stones and lighted up the entire cave. Enchanting spent one whole night to absorb the spirit energy from the spirit stones. Next day morning, when the sun just arose, the darkness in the cave was replaced by light. Rays of lights shone into the cave, and Enchanting opened her eyes slowly. The 17 medium-grade spirit stones that were floating in the air previously had lost their initial luster. The scraps were useless now, as all the spirit energy was absorbed by Enchanting. Third heaven of martial qi level 2, Enchanting could feel her primordial qi flowing through her body. Joy filled her eyes. The effects of the medium-grade spirit stones were better than she expected. They strengthened her martial ability at mid-stage of the third heaven of martial qi level 2. She was very close to the late stage. If I had more medium-grade spirit stones, I may be able to reach the third heaven of the martial qi level 3 soon, Enchanting murmured to herself. However, the medium-grade spirit stones were too precious. 17 of them could be considered as a large number, as they were equal to half a year's pay for the Xianling sect elders. More spirit energy would be needed to break through when she reached the third heaven of the martial qi level 2, and a dozen of medium-grade spirit stones were far from enough. Enchanting did not bother about the spirit stones anymore. She decided to leave the scraps at the side, but when she just gathered the scraps together, the lightning dragon that was sleeping in her arms suddenly poked its head out. It shook its head and seemed to be looking for something. The lightning dragon had been exhausted since the incidents at the Spirit Condensation Mountain village. Yi Qingtang found some inferior-grade spirit stones to supplement it with energy, but the results were not great. Thus, it always slept in her arms. How come today it was so active? Yi Qingtang was curious. The lightning dragon had found the breath that excited it. It gazed at the scraps of spirit stones and slipped out of Yi Qingtang's arms. It swung its body and walked towards the scraps. When it reached the pile of scraps, it suddenly opened its mouth and swallowed all 17 of the leftover medium-grade spirit stones. Chapter 458 Unexpected Surprise 1. There was a subtle change in Yi Qingtang's expression as she stared at the lightning dragon. Most of the spirit energy in the medium-grade spirit stones had been absorbed by her, and the remaining energy could not be used by humans anymore, so they were considered useless. But she forgot that. The last trace of spirit energy that could not be obtained by people still could be used by lightning dragons, as they would swallow the entire stone. Though most of the spirit energy was used by Yi Qingtang, the remaining was still much more than the spirit energy that inferior-grade spirit stones contained. No wonder the lightning dragon was so excited. Yi Qingtang smiled and watched the lightning dragon swallowing all the 17 medium-grade spirit stones. It laid beside her in satisfaction. Yi Qingtang could not help but poke its round belly gently. The lightning dragon swung its body lightly but was too lazy to move anymore. Its eyes narrowed comfortably. Yi Qingtang witnessed how satisfied the lightning dragon was and did not poke it anymore. She gently hugged it in her arms. This gave her a reminder that in future, if there were medium-grade spirit stones again, she must leave the scraps to this little dragon. After settling the lightning dragon, Yi Qingtang took out the spirit life flower from her space ring. Laughter filled her eyes as she sized up the spirit life flower. This was the treasure that Yi Yu was longing for. Yi Yu got her hands on it and last time around, and her spirit root was refreshed. The power of her spirit root became purer, and her ability improved at a faster pace. In this life, the spirit life flower did not belong to Yi Yu anymore and fell into her hands. Yi Qingtang did not hesitate and swallowed the spirit life flower. Other than a little sweetness, the taste was not special. After 4 hours, Yi Qingtang suddenly frowned as there was a wide breath circulating inside her body. Yi Qingtang's body felt like it was being beaten by hammers. Her limbs and body were shivering slightly. Yi Qingtang could clearly feel that her spirit root was surrounded by a weird power. The heart of the demon god seemed to be disturbed and awoken at the same time. It engulfed the weird power constantly and then channeled all the power to the spirit root. The whole process was unbearable for normal people. The spirit root was the foundation of a cultivator and their source of power. The refreshing process was painful and unbearable. Yi Qingtang's entire body was soaked with cold sweat, but she gritted her teeth and persevered without making any sound. The pain slowly faded after a long time. Yi Qingtang calmed her heart down and checked the situation of her spirit root. The orange color was brighter now, and her spirit root was radiating some kind of hot breath. The color was darkening, and eventually, the spirit root showed a golden yellow color. Yellow spirit root. Yi Qingtang was stunned, and her body trembled. It took her very long to realize what just happened. She also did not expect the effects of the spirit life flower to be so great. After the process, her orange spirit root had leveled up to a yellow spirit root. Leveling up a spirit root was extremely difficult, and it was even harder to do so on this land where there was insufficient spirit energy and obsolete martial civilization. However, her spirit root still leveled up under such conditions. Chapter 459 Unexpected Surprise 2. Before Yi Qingtang could think it through, the yellow spirit root that just transformed suddenly radiated an extremely hot breath. The breath spread like fire, rushing into every meridian inside her body. Arg! Even Enchanting also groaned in pain. The cold sweat on her head was dripping like pearls from a broken string. Enchanting's face was full of astonishment. Enchanting immediately wanted to direct her primordial chi to counter the pain that was brought by the heat radiated from the spirit life flower. However, that did not help at all and instead caused the breath to be even hotter as if she was surrounded by fire. Hot flames suddenly arose on from her arm to her entire body. Enchanting was shocked. The flame engulfed her completely within a second and condensed into a sun-like shape. A bright glow filled the entire cave. Ugh! Under the light of the little sun, Enchanting's expression showed that she was suffering in agony. It seemed that she might melt at any time. However, at the same moment, the heart of the demon god started beating. A ray of black light surrounded Enchanting and protected her inside. The unbearable pain was then slightly relieved, and Enchanting regained her consciousness. The little sun faded after 2 days. At the same time, when Enchanting opened her eyes, a streak of light suddenly shot out of her eyes. Boom! The light crushed the wall of the stone into a brown powder. The Paragon Skill. Rise of the Phoenix. Enchanting was stunned. She could not believe what had just happened. The level of one's spirit root was classified as red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. The so-called Paragon skill was not an external martial skill. It was the only skill that could be understood from the spirit root. Only cultivators with yellow spirit roots and above could understand their own Paragon skills. It was extremely rare for one to understand the Paragon skill. Feng Moli was the only one in the Xianling sect who understood the Paragon skill, and that was the reason why he was valued so high in the sect. It was obvious how precious the Paragon skill was. Enchanting lifted her arm slightly. A flower constructed by a golden flame emerged on her palm. The heat immediately spread out like fire. Enchanting still remained in shock. That's weird. This does not look like the normal rise of the phoenix. Enchanting frowned as she could not understand the Paragon skill that came from nowhere. The normal rise of the phoenix stored some kind of energy in the body, but Enchanting's rise of the phoenix merged the energy into her meridians. Even her primordial chi was also affected, and the color changed from pure white to gold. The Paragon skill could never reach this level. Furthermore, the rise of the phoenix came very suddenly, and she was almost killed in the flame. If the heart of the demon god had not protected her just now, she might have been burned alive under the heat of the rise of the phoenix. She had never heard that the Paragon skill was so dangerous that one might lose their life. Unless, Enchanting seemed to realize something after a while. Her pupil contracted, and her face was filled with disbelief. Is it possible that this is not the normal rise of the phoenix but the ultimate origin skill? Enchanting was totally taken aback by this thought. Chapter 460 Unexpected Surprise 3. The ultimate origin skill was the same as the Paragon skill but much more powerful. According to the rumors, only those who were born extremely talented had the chance to acquire the ultimate origin skill. There were 3 powerful people who had acquired the ultimate origin skill on this land. The first person was the legend on this land. He was addressed by people as the Pagoda Sword Master. He reached the ultimate level of the Yin-Yang True Lord at age 20 and was only half-step away from breaking through to the Arcane Supremacy level. However, the martial civilization on this land was too obsolete, and there was insufficient spirit energy. The Pagoda Sword Master left eventually to a land with a more advanced civilization, and no one knew where he was now. The second person was the Lord of the Blood Moon sect. He was the ultimate power of the Blood Moon sect, more terrifying than the Blood Moon sect master. His position in the Blood Moon sect was equal to the Grand Elder of the sect. The third person would be the ultimate elder, the most powerful person on this land. The renowned sects combined their forces back then to terminate the entire Blood Moon sect, and within half a year, the Blood Moon sect was greatly damaged, and they had to retreat. Then, the Blood Moon Lord finished his seclusion and only used half a day to kill many sections. His power was insane, and no one could beat him. However, the Ultimate Elder showed up soon and fought with the Blood Moon Lord. He eventually beat off the Lord. If the Ultimate Elder had not shown up, the Blood Moon sect would have definitely won. The three most powerful people on this land all possessed the ultimate origin skill. The youngest Pagoda Sword Master was the first, followed by the Blood Moon Lord and the Ultimate Elder. Enchanting had also heard of the Pagoda Sword Master before. It was said that he had no competitors on this land. He once fought with the Ultimate Elder and Blood Moon Lord together, and he only used 10 steps to fight off both of them. He then sighed and flew into the void. Eventually, he left this piece of land. Ultimate origin skill, Enchanting's eyes were fixed onto her palm. Her Rise of the Phoenix had the same flame property as Feng Moli's Paragon skill. However, its nature was vastly different. Feng Moli's Paragon skill was just an ordinary one. It could not even be compared to the ultimate origin skill. Is it due to the refreshment of the spirit life flower? It leveled up my spirit root. Then, is there some kind of mutation that causes me to acquire the ultimate origin skill? Enchanting could not figure out the origin of the ultimate origin skill. She only knew that the ultimate origin skill was way beyond the Paragon skill, but she did not know how it was formed. Enchanting always looked forward to obtaining the Paragon skill in her previous life, but she could only dream about it as she did not have a spirit root. She did not expect that she could acquire the ultimate origin skill in this life that was much more powerful than the Paragon skill. It's a pity that my ultimate origin skill is not powerful enough due to my cultivation level, Enchanting contemplated for a while and murmured to herself. The ultimate origin skill that she could display using her third heaven of martial chi level 2's cultivation might be able to reach a draw with people at Etianchus level. It was even possible to kill them with the ultimate origin skill. Tiancho was killed by her as he was severely injured. He looked down on her and was not on guard against her, giving her the chance to kill him. Otherwise, she could never fight against him. After a short while, Enchanting used the feather formation technique. Her primordial chi concentrated at her back, and the pure white feathers also turned into a gold color as the result of the ultimate origin skill. Enchanting flew into the air immediately, heading towards the Xianling sect. She had been at this mountain valley for quite a while. Elder Qin and the rest might have left the drifting cloud island. Thus, Enchanting did not plan to return to there. Enchanting flew at a very high speed, and she had flew around 5,000 meters away within a second. Suddenly, Enchanting frowned and stopped in mid-air. Earth-shaking sounds came from a few hundred meters away. There were 2 streaks of martial chi aura spreading out. Even Enchanting could sense the aura. Enchanting did not want to be involved. However, when she was about to leave, a huge demon subduing pagoda emerged in front of her eyes. Chapter 461 Demon Subduing Pagoda 1. That demon subduing pagoda was over 10 feet tall with an imposing aura that filled the air. Enchanting was taken aback by this look. That is Master's Demon Subduing Pagoda. In her previous life, Enchanting was once saved by perfected Xianchen of 9 Knights dynasty and brought to cultivate in Falling Sky Valley. That demon subduing pagoda was one of perfected Xuanchen's Dharma treasures which could subdue all evil beings, and Enchanting had once seen it before. This is strange. Master once said that his demon subduing pagoda was handed to his favorite disciple. Afterward, that disciple was killed, and the demon-subduing pagoda ended up in Yun Xiao Sek's hands. Yi Qingtang's brows were furrowed as she pondered. The demon-subduing pagoda was in Yun Xiao Sek's hands for very long, until a long time later when perfected Xianqun killed a Yun Xiao sect elder and got the demon-subduing pagoda back. Why would I see Master's demon-subduing pagoda here? Yi Qingtang's expression was serious. After thinking for a long while, she ultimately decided to check. Kilometers away, two young males were exuding a frightening air which stirred gusts of winds that swept the surrounding area. One of the males was wearing a long black robe, and there was a golden embroidery of the word Valley on the chest, while the other person was a Yun Xiao sect disciple. Ha! Ji Yixuan, disciple of perfected Xianqun in Nine Knights Dynasty, I did not think that I would actually meet you here. The Yun Xiao sect disciple sneered at the teen in the black robe. At that instant, the youth in the black robe waved his right arm, and the tall demon-subduing pagoda shrank immediately and fell into his hand. You are the disciple of Yun Xiao sect master, Yu Tiancheng. The male in the black robe had an aloof expression as he sized up the youth before him. That's me. Yu Tiancheng laughed. Ji Yixuan, why are you not in Nine Knights Dynasty but here in Formidable Heavens Dynasty? It has nothing to do with you. Ji Yixuan replied. Upon hearing that, a cold glint flashed across Yu Tiancheng's eyes. Ha! Ji Yixuan, Falling Sky Valley and Yun Xiao sect are mortal enemies. Now that you've stepped into the Formidable Heavens Dynasty, you are courting your own death. Oh hey, Ji Yixuan said with indifference. Our skills are similar, and Master granted me the Dharma treasure, demon-subduing pagoda, for this trip to the Formidable Heavens Dynasty. Wonder which one of us will die today. Then, the demon-subduing pagoda in his hands turned swiftly. It let out a horrifying sound, and thunder emerged around it. Ji Yixuan waved his right arm, and a palm print was formed from his palms. Instantly, the demon-subduing pagoda elongated and turned to be over 10 meters tall, which suppressed Yu Tiancheng. This Dharma treasure is indeed powerful. After being forced backward 10 or so steps by the demon-subduing pagoda, Yu Tiancheng suddenly stopped and took out a talisman. Joel, then, Yu Tiancheng threw the talisman out. In a second, the talisman started burning and eventually turned into a golden light once it was completely burnt. Array formation in a talisman. After noticing the situation, Ji Yixuan's expression changed slightly. The more powerful the array formation was, the longer it took to set the array, and top array formations needed at least months to finish setting up. However, Yu Tiancheng sealed the array formation in the talisman in advance, which could achieve the effect immediately. Golden light cast from the sky immediately and shrouded over the demon-subduing pagoda. Boom! 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 The huge demon-subduing pagoda was wildly attacked in the golden light, where the sounds of contact were frightening. Nonetheless, Yu Tiancheng's array formation was extremely brilliant, and the demon-subduing pagoda could not escape it. Worldly self-illusion. With an indifferent expression, Ji Yixuan immediately manifested another him. At that moment, there were two Ji Yixuan standing side by side. For 61 demon-subduing pagoda, 1, that demon-subduing pagoda was over 10 feet tall with an imposing aura that filled the air. Yi Qingtang was taken aback by this look. That is Master's demon-subduing pagoda. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang was once saved by perfected Xianqun of Nine Knights Dynasty and brought to cultivate in Falling Sky Valley. That demon-subduing pagoda was one of perfected Xuanquan's Dharma treasures which could subdue all evil beings, and Yi Qingtang had once seen it before. This is strange. Master once said that his demon-subduing pagoda was handed to his favorite disciple. Afterward, that disciple was killed, and the demon-subduing pagoda ended up in Yun Xiao sect's hands. Yi Qingtang's brows were furrowed as she pondered. The demon-subduing pagoda was in Yun Xiao sect's hands for very long, until a long time later when perfected Xianqin killed a Yunshao sect elder and got the demon-subduing pagoda back. Why would I see Master's demon-subduing pagoda here? Yi Qingtang's expression was serious. After thinking for a long while, she ultimately decided to check. Kilometers away. Two young males were exuding a frightening air which stirred gusts of winds that swept the surrounding area. One of the males was wearing a long black robe, and there was a golden embroidery of the word Valley on the chest, while the other person was a Yunshao sect disciple. Ha! Ji Yishuan, disciple of perfected Xianqin in 9 Knights Dynasty, I did not think that I would actually meet you here. The Yunshao sect disciple sneered at the teen in the black robe. At that instant, the youth in the black robe waved his right arm, and the tall demon-subduing pagoda shrank immediately and fell into his hand. You are the disciple of Yunshao sect master, Yu Tiancheng. The male in the black robe had an aloof expression as he sized up the youth before him. That's me. Yu Tiancheng laughed. Ji Yishuan, why are you not in 9 Knights Dynasty but here in Formidable Heavens Dynasty? It has nothing to do with you. Ji Yishuan replied. Upon hearing that, a cold glint flashed across Yu Tiancheng's eyes. Ha! Ji Yishuan, Falling Sky Valley and Yunshao sect are mortal enemies. Now that you've stepped into the Formidable Heavens Dynasty, you are courting your own death. Oh hey, Ji Yishuan said with indifference. Our skills are similar, and Master granted me the Dharma treasure, demon-subduing pagoda, for this trip to the Formidable Heavens Dynasty. Wonder which one of us will die today. Then, the demon-subduing pagoda in his hands turned swiftly. It let out a horrifying sound, and thunder emerged around it. Ji Yishuan waved his right arm, and a palm print was formed from his palms. Instantly, the demon-subduing pagoda elongated and turned to be over 10 meters tall, which suppressed Yu Tiancheng. This Dharma treasure is indeed powerful. After being forced backward 10 or so steps by the demon-subduing pagoda, Yu Tiancheng suddenly stopped and took out a talisman. Joel, then, Yu Tiancheng threw the talisman out. In a second, the talisman started burning and eventually turned into a golden light once it was completely burnt. Array formation in a talisman. After noticing the situation, Ji Yixuan's expression changed slightly. The more powerful the array formation was, the longer it took to set the array, and top array formations needed at least months to finish setting up. However, Yu Tiancheng sealed the array formation in the talisman in advance, which could achieve the effect immediately. Golden light cast from the sky immediately and shrouded over the demon-subduing pagoda. Boom! 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 The huge demon-subduing pagoda was wildly attacked in the golden light, where the sounds of contact were frightening. Nonetheless, Yu Tiancheng's array formation was extremely brilliant, and the demon-subduing pagoda could not escape it. Worldly self-illusion. With an indifferent expression, Ji Yishuan immediately manifested another him. At that moment, there were two Ji Yixuan standing side by side. Chapter 462 Demon Subduing Pagoda, 2:0. Worldly Self-Illusion. Your martial talents are indeed shocking, and you have proved yourself to be the favorite disciple of Falling Sky Valley's perfected Xianqin. Your worldly self-illusion is actually at such a refined level. Yu Tiancheng shook his head and continued. If not for Master's Kingdom of God talisman, perhaps I would really have been defeated by you today. Then, Yu Tiancheng sneered as he took out another talisman from his space ring. Once the talisman was completely burnt, it was as though there were singings of various gods in the surroundings, and an illusory kingdom of God fell from the sky. Shock filled Ji Yixuan's eyes upon noticing the situation. The Kingdom of God was the highest level array formation which could even suppress someone at third heaven of martial qi level 3. Yunshao's sect was actually so generous to give their disciples such a life-saving item. Seeing that the kingdom of God was falling down, Ji Yishuan immediately retreated far away. Ha, it's no use. Yu Tiancheng's lips curled into a cold scoff. Just as Yu Tiancheng finished his sentence, the kingdom of God landed and quelled Ji Yixuan's duplicate while trapping his original self within it. Subsequently, the kingdom of God shrank and turned into an enclosed golden screen. A mere kingdom of God, and you wish to trap Ji Yishuan. Ji Yishuan drew out his divine weapon with a loud clang. At that moment, Ji Yishuan gripped on the divine weapon tightly with firmness in his eyes. Sword intent, Yu Tiancheng's brows were tightly furrowed. When cultivated to the extreme, a swordsman could develop the sword intent, which was incredibly frightening willpower that could even split mountains and cut rivers. Shatter! Ji Yishuan shouted sternly as he waved his divine weapon. Boom! A sword glint rummaged across the screen as though it wanted to annihilate this world. However, this frightening strike only caused a tiny crack on the exterior of the screen while the divine weapon in Ji Yixuan's hands broke. Ha ha ha, Yu Tiancheng guffawed at the situation. Amazing. Indeed amazing. Truly a genius of Falling Sky Valley. It is a pity, though, that this kingdom of God is given by my master and is extremely firm. Even if you understand the sword intent, you can't break it. Ji Yishuan did not move after hearing it as he looked at Yu Tiancheng without emotions. It's a pity. This kingdom of God can trap people for only that long, and afterward, the force of the array formation would fade away. I will kill you once I'm out. Out? Yu Tiancheng shook his head. I forgot to tell you that there's a breath of destruction injected in it by my senior sister Yi Yu using the force of her blue spirit root. You will become a skeleton in at most 4 hours. Only at that instant was there a slight abnormality in Ji Yixuan's expression. In the 7 spirit roots, there would be changes in the attributes of a spirit from the blue spirit root on. Blue spirit roots could actively absorb the spirit energy in the world and turn the absorbed spirit energy into the breath of destruction. Yun Shao's sect produced a rare genius, Yi Yu, and he naturally heard of it as a Falling Sky Valley disciple. Although he was unaware of how powerful that Yi Yu was, even if she did not really cultivate in the future, just solely using the blue spirit root in her body to actively absorb the spirit energy in the world was enough for her to become a yin-yang true lord. If this kingdom of God really contained Yi Yu's breath of destruction as what Yu Tiancheng said, if he could not find a way to escape from the array formation in a short time, he would definitely die in it. Ha! Yu Tiancheng looked at Ji Yishuan who was sealed in the array formation screen and commented spiritedly. Ji Yishuan, one of the younger generation talents in Falling Sky Valley and a disciple of perfected Xianchen, it's impressive that you understand the sword intent and worldly self-illusion. Yet, ultimately, you still have to die in my hands. It truly is a twist of fate. Chapter 463 Demon Subduing Pagoda 3. Ji Yishuan frowned deeply without saying anything to Yu Tiancheng. The force of destruction was slowly beginning to condense in the kingdom of God. If he still did not think of a way to escape, he would probably lose his life here. Yu Tiancheng sneered as though he had seen through Ji Yixuan's thoughts. Ji Yishuan, this array formation can only be broken from the outside. It is already considered a miracle that you could create a crack in the kingdom of God from the inside with the sword intent earlier on. Now, your weapon is already broken, and there is no way you can condense the force of the sword intent anymore, much less escape from here. Just kill that thought. Then, Yu Tiancheng walked to another side. The corners of his lips tugged up slightly as he looked at the demon-subduing pagoda in the golden light. He waved his right arm over it, and the golden light faded away. He placed the demon-subduing pagoda which had returned to its original size into his palm. Not bad. The Dharma treasure of Falling Sky Valley's Division Valley Master, perfected Xianchen, is indeed not bad. However, it belongs to us, Yunxiao sect now. Yu Tiancheng laughed. Don't you dare. Fury emerged in Ji Yixuan's eyes. The demon-subduing pagoda was given to him by his master, perfected Xianchen, to protect his life. How could it end up in the hands of their mortal enemy, Yunxiao sect? Ha ha ha. Yu Tiancheng could not help but scoff. The demon-subduing pagoda is already in my hands now. Do you think I dare or not? Before waiting for Ji Yixuan to say anything, Yu Tiancheng waved a hand and intercepted him. Ji Yixuan, instead of wasting saliva like this, why not think of how to escape from there? As Yu Tiancheng finished his sentence, the pressure of the spirit energy in the kingdom of God, read only at Wuxia World. Site for fast updates, skyrocketed and materialized into an inexplicable breath of destruction. The force of it was like the descent of countless mountains which suppressed Ji Yixuan tightly, causing his breaths to quicken and face to flush. Before long, Ji Yixuan could no longer hold it in and fell on the floor with a thump as cold sweat dripped down his forehead like a broken pearl necklace. On a slope several hundred meters away, Yi Qingtang was looking ahead at that instant. Yu Tiancheng, after she saw that small disciple of the Yunxiao sect master, her fists were tightly clenched, and she strongly desired to skin him alive. In her previous lifetime, she was wounded by Yu Tiancheng a few times and almost lost her life in all encounters. After 9 Knights dynasty was wiped out, Yunxiao sect combined forces with other super sects of Formidable Heavens dynasty to attack Falling Sky Valley. Yu Tiancheng's hands were stained with the blood of all her senior and junior brothers. Very quickly, Yi Qingtang calmed her heart down and looked at Ji Yixuan. She never thought that she would meet Ji Yixuan, the disciple of her master who had already passed on in her previous life, of Falling Sky Valley today. Back then, Yi Qingtang entered Falling Sky Valley and cultivated beside perfected Xianchen. Thus, she naturally had heard of these past events. Ji Yixuan came to the Formidable Heavens dynasty to obtain the Regeneration Stone. The Regeneration Stone possessed the powers of renewing the bones of a dying person. The Valley Master of Falling Sky Valley was heavily injured from a battle a decade ago. He was already of old age now and had a sudden illness. He could only keep his life with that Regeneration Stone. In her previous life, the Regeneration Stone that Ji Yixuan obtained along with the demon-subduing pagoda fell into Yunxiao sect's hands together. Because the Regeneration Stone was too rare, perfected Xianchen could not find another one even when he personally searched for it, which resulted in the eventual death of Falling Sky Valley's Valley Master. Yi Qingtang looked at Ji Yixuan who was over 100 meters away. He was sealed in the array formation, and the force of destruction in it had already caused him to gasp for air. She was afraid that Ji Yixuan would die in the array in no time. Based on skills, Ji Yixuan was one of Falling Sky Valley's geniuses and had comprehended the sword intent as well as the worldly self-illusion. Under normal circumstances, Yu Tiancheng of Yunxiao sect was definitely not his opponent. Chapter 464 Senior Brother and Junior Sister 1. However, Yu Tiancheng had too many cards in his hand and was able to achieve victory just by using 2 talismans that the Yunxiao sect master gave. While the demon-subduing pagoda was powerful, it was relative. It could subdue and slaughter any evil spirits in an instant, but when dealing with humans, its abilities were greatly reduced and naturally would not be as good as the array formation in a talisman that the Yunxiao sect master gave to Yu Tiancheng. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Although she wanted to save this senior brother that she never met in her previous life, Yu Tiancheng's skills were too powerful, and she would definitely not be able to defeat him even if she played all her cards. Moreover, even if she could defeat him, she did not dare to make a move rashly. No one knew how many cards Yu Tiancheng still had on him, and if he took out another array formation in a talisman. Just as Yi Qingtang felt helpless with the situation, her eyes flickered. She opened Wuxia World site, her space ring, and her lips curled into a smile as she looked at the Yunxiao token inside the space ring. Then, she took out an ordinary blouse from the space ring and changed out from the dirty Xianling sect uniform. Since this top was tighter than the Xianling sect uniform, Yi Qingtang had the little lightning dragon shrink a little to hide it in her wide sleeves. After changing, Yi Qingtang immediately stood up and walked ahead in great strides. About 100 meters outside, Yu Tiancheng suddenly looked over. "Whoever that is, do not come any farther," Yu Tiancheng ordered coldly. "Is that senior brother Yu Tiancheng ahead?" Yi Qingtang stopped walking and asked. "Who are you?" Yu Tiancheng sized up Yi Qingtang and thought she was rather foreign. "It indeed is senior brother Yu." Yi Qingtang had an agitated expression. "Senior brother Yu, I am a Yunxiao sect disciple." Yu Tiancheng was startled to hear that. This random girl who appeared from nowhere actually claimed to be a Yunxiao sect disciple? "You are a Yunxiao sect disciple? Why have I not seen you before?" Ji Yishuan asked. "Ah," Yi Qingtang sighed. "Senior brother Yu, you are an inner sect disciple of Yunxiao sect while I'm only an outer sect disciple. Isn't it normal that you have not seen me before?" As Yi Qingtang said, Yunxiao sect had many outer sect disciples, and it was impossible for him to meet all of them before. Third heaven of martial qi level 2, Yu Tiancheng pondered as he scanned Yi Qingtang. Yunxiao sect outer sect disciples were at least at the second heaven of martial qi level 2 while this girl was at the third heaven of martial qi level 2. There should not be any errors. "Why and what are you doing here?" Yu Tiancheng questioned. From Yu Tiancheng's behavior, Yi Qingtang knew that he was an extremely cautious person, and, thus, she was on full alert as well. She chuckled. "Senior brother Yu, I've been hiding in Wind Moon sect, and I just engulfed the spirit roots of a few genius disciples a few days ago which allowed my spirit root to upgrade. Wuxia World site, intended to return to the sect today and did not expect to meet you here." Yu Tiancheng's suspicions were slightly reduced upon hearing that. The sect sent quite a number of outer sect disciples to hide in the three sects to snatch the spirit roots of those genius disciples in order to strengthen themselves. While this was not a shocking secret in Yunxiao sect, it was not allowed to be divulged out, and there was no way others would know of it. However, half of Yu Tiancheng's suspicions were gone, but another half remained. "Your spirit root just upgraded. Since that is the case, let me take a look then." As he spoke, Yu Tiancheng leaped to Yi Qingtang's side while looking at her sharply. Chapter 465 Senior Brother and Junior Sister, 2. Immediately, Yi Qingtang opened her palms and revealed her spirit root in front of Yu Tiancheng cooperatively. "Not bad. The aura of the spirit root indeed is that of one that has just upgraded." Yu Tiancheng nodded. Before waiting for Yi Qingtang to say anything, Yu Tiancheng frowned slightly. "That's not right. The spirit root is only a yellow spirit root after an upgrade, which means that your previous spirit root is an orange spirit root?" "Senior brother Yu is right. I was an orange spirit root previously," Yi Qingtang said honestly and naturally. A cold glint flashed across Yu Tiancheng's eyes when he heard her. "Then, do you know that Yunxiao sect's criteria for accepting disciples is that they must at least be a green spirit root, so senior brother Yu is suspecting me?" Yi Qingtang could not help but laugh. "You're really overthinking, senior brother Yu. Who dares to pretend as a Yunxiao sect disciple in the formidable Heavens dynasty? Moreover, I was able to enter Yunxiao sect as an exception." "Exception? You're talking rather big. Tell me what kind of exception that was then." Yu Tiancheng's interest was stirred. A harmless smile hung on his lips, though a deep murderous expression hid in the abyss of his eyes. "All right. Since you don't believe me, take a good look then. Enchanting raised her arm and opened her palms. Swoosh! In a flash, a golden flame was dancing in Enchanting's palm as though it was the spirit of fur. Looking at the golden flame in the palms of the stunning girl before him, Enchanting showed a surprised look on his face. Paragon skill. Please read at Wuxia World. Site only the ultimate origin skill had not appeared on this mainland for too long of a time, and there was not much difference between the ultimate origin skill and the paragon skill. As a result, Enchanting mistook it, and Enchanting was naturally confident of this. Understanding the paragon skill as a yellow spirit root is pretty good but not enough for the sect to make an exception, Enchanting mumbled. Senior brother, are you sure? I understood the paragon skill as a yellow spirit root. Enchanting's face was full of smiles. Oh. So you mean, then, there was a change in Enchanting's expression. Enchanting suddenly recalled that Enchanting already revealed the aura of her spirit root earlier on, and although it was a yellow spirit root, it did upgrade not long ago. It was simply impossible for someone who had just upgraded to a yellow spirit root to understand the paragon skill in an instant. You understood the paragon skill as an orange spirit root? Enchanting returned to his senses and looked at Enchanting in disbelief. This girl had just upgraded to a yellow spirit root, and there was no way she understood the paragon skill as a yellow spirit root. Chapter 466 Senior Brother and Junior Sister, 3. Seeing that Enchanting finally believed her fully, Enchanting's lips curled up as a cold sneer filled the back of her eyes. She never expected this Enchanting to be so cautious and distrustful. Fortunately, she searched the body of that disciple whom Yi Tianqiu killed and obtained this Yunxiao token. Ha! Junior sister, it is my nature to be distrustful. Please forgive me. Enchanting laughed. Currently, Enchanting had completely believed in Enchanting's identity as a Yunxiao sect disciple. No worries. After all, I just entered Yunxiao sect and am an outer sect disciple. It is understandable that you're suspicious of me since you haven't seen me before. Enchanting replied. Noticing that Enchanting had let his guard down, Enchanting suddenly looked at Ji Yishuan and pretended to be surprised. Senior brother, who is that? Why is he trapped in the array formation? Enchanting scoffed at that. The disciple of perfected Xianqin in Falling Sky Valley. As a citizen of Nine Knights Dynasty, he was so bold to come to the formidable Heavens Dynasty. Our sect had arranged spies in Falling Sky Valley, and they notified me of Ji Yixuan's route and motive of coming to the formidable Heavens Dynasty. Upon hearing Enchanting's words, Ji Yixuan, who was sealed in the array formation, frowned deeply. Had he not heard it for himself, he would definitely not believe that there were spies of Yunxiao's sect in Falling Sky Valley. No wonder, Enchanting pondered silently. She was wondering why Yunxiao's sect would be so generous for a disciple to have this many remarkable talismans. So it was that Yunxiao's sect master deliberately sent Enchanting to kill Ji Yishuan and thus handed him those array formations in a talisman. Otherwise, even if Enchanting was skilled, he was still lacking when facing a genius like Ji Yishuan. Yunxiao's sect had prepared for all of this long ago. It was not out of luck that Ji Yishuan died in Enchanting's hands in her previous life. Yunxiao's sect is so shameless to arrange spies in my Falling Sky Valley. Ji Yishuan criticized angrily as he withstood the force of destruction. How dare you! Before Enchanting said anything, Enchanting suddenly sneered. Who do you think you are to insult Yunxiao's sect? Junior sister, there's no need to waste your saliva on someone who is about to die, Enchanting said nonchalantly. Ji Yishuan was destined to be a dead man. What could he do even if he learned of everything? Oh right, senior brother what is this person's motive for coming to formidable Heaven's dynasty? Yi Qingtang wore an obedient expression as she looked at Yu Tiancheng curiously. Regeneration Stone. Yu Tiancheng did not hide anything as a white crystal floated in his palm. This item can renew the bones of a dying person. The days of Falling Sky Valley's old valley master are numbered, and he needs the regeneration stone to keep his life. What a pity that their calculations failed. The regeneration stone that Ji Yishuan used a Herculean effort to obtain is now in my hands. When I return to the sect and turn it in, it would definitely be a great merit. Senior Brother Yu is indeed amazing. I am full of admiration. Yi Qingtang cupped her fists as she looked at him in adoration. Regeneration Stone. Ji Yishuan realized that the regeneration stone which he hid in a certain corner previously was now in Yu Tiancheng's hands. It seems that there really are spies in my Falling Sky Valley. Otherwise, how would you be able to tail me for days and even find the place where hid the regeneration stone? Indignation filled Ji Yixuan's eyes. Visit Wuxia World. Site for this novel's latest chapters. He had no regrets even if he died there, but that regeneration stone was a life-saving item for the Old Valley Master. His master and Old Valley Master believed in him and entrusted this heavy responsibility to him, but he ultimately disappointed both of them. Yu Tiancheng glimpsed at Yi Qingtang and said immediately, "Junior sister, this is an urgent matter. I'll tell you the exact location of the spirit life flower, and you are to go there to check. If you encounter Yi Tianchou, kill him." Hoo-ha! Yi Qingtang was surprised and shook her head hurriedly after hearing Yu Tiancheng. "Senior Brother Yu, I'm afraid I can't. You should be aware of Yi Tianchou's reputation." "What is so scary about that?" Yu Tiancheng frowned, displeased. "Senior Brother Yu, Yi Tianchou's nickname is the Great Flower Thief. No one knows how many ladies he has insulted. Not mentioning how I can't defeat him with my skills, even if I'm more powerful than him. I'm a girl, and I don't have the courage to." Yi Qingtang had an aggrieved expression. "Humph. How can you have so many excuses as a Yunshao sect disciple?" Yu Tiancheng was a little impatient. While he spoke disdainfully, deep down, he also felt that Yi Qingtang was not Yi Tianchou's opponent. If they acted rashly, alarmed the enemy, and let Yi Tianchou escape instead, things would even be more troublesome. Chapter 468 Internal Strife. 1. Yu Tiancheng replied immediately. "Since that is the case, you will stay here to guard this array formation and Ji Yishuan. There is a force of destruction from senior sister Yi Yu's blue spirit root. In a while, Ji Yishuan will be nothing but bones. You don't need to do anything. Just don't let anyone come near and wait for me to return." "All right. Rest assured, Senior Brother Yu. With me here, no one will be able to come near here." Yi Qingtang hurriedly agreed and nodded. At that moment, Yu Tiancheng was burning with anxiety and immediately turned around to leave without explaining much to Yi Qingtang. At the same time, a loud bang sounded. Ji Yishuan, who was sealed in the array formation, was astounded, and his jaws fell wide open. The moment Yu Tiancheng turned around, Ji Yishuan saw that the Yunshao sect girl immediately turned hostile and slapped his back. Without surprise, Yu Tiancheng's body flew out and knocked on a rock over 10 meters away. Boom! The rock crumbled into pieces from the impact. Yu Tiancheng further caused several sturdy trees to fall and finally fell on the ground. Ow! Yu Tiancheng's complexion was pale, and blood gushed out of his mouth. He looked at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. After saying just one word, Yu Tiancheng spat another mouthful of blood again. Yi Qingtang looked at Yu Tiancheng, who collapsed below a tall tree after being severely injured from just one move from her, and her lips curled up in a playful smile. She darted to where Yu Tiancheng was swiftly. You! Yu Tiancheng clenched his teeth, wanting to stand up, but that one slap from that girl utterly smashed all life in him, and all his vital organs were damaged. Who exactly are you? Yu Tiancheng used all his energy to ask the devilishly stunning girl who had arrived before him. Senior brother Yi, have you forgotten that you offended me before? The smile on her lips deepened as she looked at Yu Tiancheng's twisted expression. Other than today. I've never seen you before, at all. Yu Tiancheng said between pants. He was in a hurry to leave just now and did not guard against this girl at all. Who would have thought that she would launch a sneak attack from behind him and attack his gate of vitality? You are not a Yunshao sect disciple. Yu Tiancheng was not foolish. He was so cautious, but there was still a slip. However, what replied him was the demonic blood sword that had already been drawn out of its scabbard. Swoosh! The demonic blood sword waved in Yi Qingtang's hand. A blood-colored sword shadow emerged and pierced through Yu Tiancheng's chest. In just a moment, Yu Tiancheng stared disbelievingly at the demonic blood sword that was pierced in his chest and watched blood spatter out from the wound. I don't like to bulshat with a dead person. Yi Qingtang looked at the pale Yu Tiancheng from a commanding position. Chapter 469 Internal Strife 2. After Yu Tiancheng died, Yi Qingtang waved an arm over him, and a golden flame burned him completely into nothing. Then, Yi Qingtang turned around and sprinted to Ji Yishuan. Looking at the stunned Ji Yishuan, Yi Qingtang walked forward and asked, Ji Yishuan, do you wish to escape from the array formation? Wuxia world. Sight Ji Yishuan frowned slightly at that. There were no emotions as he looked at the young girl who killed her fellow sect disciple. So what if I wished to or not? Would you all, Yunshao sect disciples, would let me off? Yi Qingtang could not help but laugh and shake her head as she saw how Ji Yishuan was still so cold. So you think that Yu Tiancheng and I had an internal strife and that I killed him? Isn't I? Ji Yixuan's brows were furrowed. The supposed sect ties were nothing compared to how some disciples bred enmity between each other and secretly struck when they were out of the sect. Yi Qingtang looked at Ji Yishuan who stood there helplessly, and an evil smile flashed across her eyes. Then, she nodded and said, yes, you guessed it right. Jay have an internal strife with Yu Tiancheng. Yu Tiancheng has the regeneration stone and even a Dharma treasure, demon subduing pagoda. When I kill him, these items are naturally mine. Ha! Ji Yishuan stared at Yi Qingtang and scoffed. Do you think that Yunshao sect would not realize it when you kill Yu Tiancheng? If they find out, Yunshao sect would naturally not let you off, and Falling Sky Valley would not let you off since you obtained the demon subduing pagoda. You don't have to worry, Ji Yishuan. You are already someone who is about to die. Don't waste any more saliva talking. Just take a look at this world for the last time. Yi Qingtang shrugged slightly and left directly without being concerned about what Ji Yishuan said. As Ji Yishuan watched Yi Qingtang leave, Ji Yishuan slowly shut his eyes as the breath of destruction intensified gradually. However, right at that moment, swoosh! The shadow of a demonic blood sword emerged. The demonic blood sword in Yi Qingtang's hand shot past and knocked on the array formation hardly. This array formation in a talisman was difficult to break from the inside, but if attacked from the outside, it was relatively simple to break it. Swoosh! As Yi Qingtang's sword landed, there was a sound of broken glass in the sealed array formation. Almost instinctively, Ji Yishuan fled from the broken array formation instantly. A few breaths later, Ji Yishuan looked at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. This Yunshao sect disciple actually cracked the array formation and allowed him to escape. Why did you do this? Ji Yishuan had a confused expression. Even if Yunxiao sect disciples fought internally, this girl launched a sneak attack and killed Yu Tiancheng but should not have released him. You're indeed the same as what Master described. How boring. Yi Qingtang tilted her head as she scanned Ji Yishuan up and down. Master? What do you mean? Confusion filled Ji Yishuan. I was just joking with you just now. I am not a Yunxiao sect disciple, Yi Qingtang said honestly. Really? Ji Yishuan frowned. Otherwise, why would I save you? Yi Qingtang chuckled. Ji Yishuan was at a loss of words at that moment. Ji Yishuan initially thought that he would die without a doubt today, yet unexpectedly, a random girl of an unknown origin saved him, and even Yu Tiancheng, that small disciple of Yunxiao sect master, was tricked and killed by her. Hurry back to your sect and submit your mission. Yi Qingtang took the regeneration stone from Yu Tiancheng and tossed it to Ji Yishuan without hesitation. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.